Well, hi there. Yes, we are outside, so the Indian summer persists. And today, right now, this is the aftermath of yesterday's dinner, so I'm gonna complete the trio of what we had, and I kept this for the end of the dinner because it was younger, it was more powerful, and I wanted really to see how it was gonna come through. Anyway, this is an Italian Syrah, 100% Syrah by the maker is the Pupille, and they call the wine the Pupille. These are the makers of Safredi, which is one of the top three probably Super Tuscans in Maremma, on the coast of Tuscany. And as we know, Super Tuscan is a wine made in Tuscany, but not necessarily with Sangiovese, primarily Cabernet, Merlot, Petit Verdot. They're like Bordeaux blends. And the Safredi itself has been known sometimes as the Lafite of Tuscany just because of its characteristics. Anyway, it is a new venture for the property, and it's started 2015 was the first year, even though the wines were planted at the turn of the century. This was a long-term project of Elisabetta Geppetti and her daughter Clara, who are now the previous and the coming generation of managers of the estate. And so they worked on this together. It's a family project. The two of them involved. They have two vineyards that they take wine from, one facing southwest, the other one facing northeast. They have two methods of fermentation. They do some in big tonneaus, and then one half in tonneaus and half in amphora, and then they kind of blend it. It stays in wood for 18 months, then they bottle it, and it stays in bottle for a bit. So I think it's just a little bit of a long process, about 40% whole cluster, and really their goal was to make a Syrah sort of worthy of the big old sort of Northern Rhone Syrahs, and let's see if they were able to do that. I met the daughter at the tasting back when we were making, still having live in-person tastings. It was terrific. We talked about, she explained to me, what I just told you, and how they wanted to pull this off. I bought a bottle, I tasted it, I bought a bottle, it was really, really good, so I bought one. It was very expensive at the time. Since then, whenever I see a sale, I'll buy one more, so I've accumulated a few. So I figured, why not start here and see where this thing evolves. Anyway, you look at the color, it's got what I like to call this sort of thick Syrah. There's stuff floating in the bottom, so I'm not sure if it's filtered or not. Very, very fine particles, very sort of deep red, kind of a little almost bordering on Bordeaux, but certainly nothing wrong in terms of expecting Syrah here. And the nose is really Syrah. It's got that little bit of gaminess. It's got the menthol, the alcohol. It is not high, it's over 14% alcohol. You got the fruit, the sort of a little bit almost jammy blueberries and blackberries, sort of the black fruits, if you want to call them. And it's really very typical from that point of view. You feel comfortable. It's a familiar territory from what you expect from a Northern Rhone. But it's still very young. It's still developing. It's changing, but by the hour, let's say. So this is a point in time. Definitely coats the mouth. It's a very subtle finish. It's there. It's not big. I think it's still developing. And the mouth, it's really, you do have still a lot of fruit, but you have the earth tones already, for a youngish wine. That's very interesting. And it is sort of bombastic to some extent. I mean, it's fresh, it's strong, it's vibrant, without going over the top. And I know, to me, it's always very difficult to pull that off. So I really love the people who can stop just short of sort of maybe too much extraction or too much of a fruit bomb, because I don't like those. And this is really, I don't want to say, oh, this is as good as a Hermitage or whatever, because that's not the point. I mean, I think every terroir is different. This terroir is much more sandstone. and volcanic ash. So not necessarily the same as the schist and the granite in the northern Rhone, but it does manage to produce something very close. To me, it's more like a maybe Cornat Pur Noir from Robert Michel, which is really just so lush and so rich, as opposed to a Côte Rôtie that's a little bit more subdued and subtle, and Hermitage that sometimes can be really sort of an arm wrestling partner, let's say, in wine drinking. Let me just try some more. Very nice. A little bit more tartness, you know, kind of again similar to what you get in a fine Bordeaux. And that's maybe a little bit of a characteristic here that sets them a little apart from the northern Rhone, which is great because now we have all these variations. There's more and more Syrah coming out of Tuscany, big, expensive, sort of 100% Syrah bottles that are worth exploring. Maybe we'll do more of those going forward. Anyway, thanks for spending this time with us, and see you soon.